So my son comes
Absolutely.
home, I told you before this, and we're going to sleep about 2 weeks ago, and he goes, 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, I can see, like, what grade do kids start doing multiplication?
Like third grade.
Okay, so he's 4
Right.
years old, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, and then I'm like, say that one more time. He goes, 7 times 7 is 49. Actually, he goes, 7 sevens. That's what he's saying. So, and I'm like, okay. So the next day I start quizzing him, and he knows all his multiplication. Like, we've been working on addition, but now
Incredible.
he's known multiplication at 4. So I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, pretty interesting. He's smarter than not smarter, but he's like, but he learns it. He's doing number blocks. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, of course.
So all day he's doing these things, and I go, what color is 7? He's like, this color. I'm like, what color is 2? So he's associating numbers and colors. And I'm like, this is crazy because there's no school. Like, I've been looking at what Finland's doing in Switzerland and Sweden, and it's play, and it's fun, and it's team stuff. And so we built, between him and I, we love monster trucks. So I got monstertruckacademy.com.org.
Okay.
So we're going to start our own first elementary school because I want to do it around STEM and monster trucks creativity.
I love it.
Because as you and I both know, artificial intelligence, your kids out here were talking about ChatGPT and building websites and building business plans, stuff like that, and they're going to pitch. And everybody's using it. But the system today doesn't want them to use the technology.
I know.
The problem is my kids and your kids are going to leave those kids behind. And when I say my kids, I mean all our kids in our
students.
schools, right? Are going to leave. There's a good and a bad, I think. One, our students are going to be the managers and owners of companies in the future. The bad is all those other students are going to be so far left behind
I know.
that then our students have to then teach them how to learn the newest technology.
And that's why it drives me crazy when you hear about schools that are shutting their doors to, learning about these tools. Like, don't touch it, don't do it. And, a lot of the better schools are the ones that are like, we've been doing fine so far. Why would we allow this? And like, that is where we have to give our kids superpowers by helping them learn how to use these tools. It's like saying no to the internet, right? 20 years ago.
Welcome to the Future of Education podcast, hosted by Mackenzie Price. Mackenzie is the founder of a revolutionary new school model that's disrupting education through AI. Join us as we discuss the latest in education innovation.
Let me ask you this. So what's the name of your school
It's called
system?
Foundation Academies.
Foundation Academies,
Yep.
and they are private schools.
And we just got an investment bank behind us
Amazing.
out of Chicago. So we're doing an $8 million raise. And
Incredible.
we're going to build 21 more schools in the next 2 years.
Wow, all over the country.
Mainly the red school choice states.
Okay,
Only
of
the
course.
red school
Where you're
choice
going to go to
states.
ESAs.
Yeah.
Okay.
ESAs. So
Those are education savings accounts for those who don't know. And part of the reason we're probably on a similar track, which is as much as probably both of us want to help as many kids as possible, you get into the public sector and it's really hard. There's so much red tape. There's so much going on. And so probably I know what I'm doing is I'm thinking about, okay, where can we go and open private schools that are at reasonable costs so that kids can use their educational savings accounts. And the reason he said red states is in general, school choice has been passed in these red states. Texas was actually really far behind on that, although we just got it passed a couple weeks ago. And so we can go and use these. So one example, what we're doing is we're opening 1,200 sports academies all around Texas where kids can use their ESA savings account to do that. Sounds like you're doing a similar thing. You want to make education accessible to as many kids as possible, but you're going in the private way where we can do that.
And some people have told me, I mean, like, I was on a phone call last week and this guy tells me, I don't like the ability for public funds going for private schools. And I said, okay, the only people I go, and he's an NFL player, spent 9 years in the NFL, very, very high level, works in the education space, public school space now. And I said, the only people that lose out are the people that don't have money.
Yep.
Everybody that can't afford a better education, because if those schools are failing them, I go, would you be okay with eating McDonald's every day of the week for the next 12 years? He's like, no, I want to eat what I want to eat. I go, exactly. But if you were poor or didn't have the resources, you would be. You would eat the crap because there's a food desert. And that's all you would get for 12 years.
Yeah. And there's a school desert. And
sure.
I mean,
that's
a whole other conversation around what school choice. There's a lot of things on that. But I think you and I agree. It's great. Give kids options, give families options to find what works for their kids.
100%.
So that is incredible. How big are your schools on average? How many students?
square feetage, it's like 2,100 to 12,000, and then like 75 to 400.
75 to 400 students. This is amazing. I'm so glad, Jay, that we know about this school system because, you know, I'm always getting people saying, what are some schools that you can recommend? You know, if you don't have one of our schools, what are schools you can recommend? Okay, let's talk real quickly. View on academics and how are you teaching kids?
So digital learning, number one.
Okay, great.
We built our own digital learning platform, which is called Puder.ai.
Okay.
So I named it after myself, and my team takes it very seriously. And I'm like, okay, there's a couple reasons for it. We can talk about that off. I'm gonna run for something someday.
Very cool.
So we'll build that in if I want to do it at that point. But I love hanging out with my kids now so much, so I don't know if I do, or just take them everywhere like I do.
Well, you know, Elon's taking his kid everywhere. Did you see the other day?
So it's
X
crazy.
The little boy was like
X.
walking with Donald Trump
Yeah.
to somewhere, and it's like when the president's your babysitter. So
I take my son to family office conferences where I speak, what I do, events, and people love him coming. Like and he's amazing. Like sometimes he gets anxious, right? So, but it's interesting to be able to see, number one, I believe, so going back to my son real quick, the idea is we gave him the ability to want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't start with the want and the desire and the fun, and the coach, when I started training my son, his name is Conrad, a little bit more than a year ago in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, the coach came by day one. And his name is Leon. Amazing guy, Art of Motion in Miami. If you're ever out there in jiu-jitsu, I can maybe take you one day if you want to learn a couple moves. And Leon looked at me, and I was drilling my son. Day one. I'm like, if we're going to get on the mat, we're going to drill. And he came by and he goes, make it fun.
He's like 3 years old at this point, I imagine.
3 years old this time. I had to beg to get him in the gym because the gym starts at 5.
Yeah.
I had to show pictures of myself as an MMA fighter, and I had to I'm like, I will train him, just let him in the gym. Like he needs to wrestle, right?
Yeah.
So the coach did, and he goes, don't make him drill. Yeah. Just have fun and wrestle with him.
But
so now he's actually putting a gi on and he's training with the other kids. And there's like this transition, right? We have fun. Every day we're there, we wrestle together, but now he's training with other kids. And last week he was getting whooped by a 6-year-old. Yep. 6-year-old was 20 pounds heavier, 2 years older. And 6-year-old was putting a rear naked choke on him. He got an armbar at one point. And they were working, obviously. Like he's not there to hurt him, right? The 6-year-old knows what he's doing. And my son starts like tearing up. And I go, hey guys, stop for a second. And he comes over and he kind of like gives me a hug. And I go, you good? I go, the idea is I want you around better kids than you are because that's how you get stronger. Okay. If you have 2-year-olds, you're just going to roll over them. You're never going to get better. So that's why I'm putting you with him. And I pick the kids he's working with every day, right? So, because there's kids that are goofing around. I'm like, you guys go somewhere else. Absolutely. I pick you, right? So it's interesting how I know what to look for when I was a pro athlete. I look for the same thing. Yeah. So we do the same thing for so he did that 4 times, by the way. Broke down, got whooped a little bit, broke down, came over, and I go, what do you want to do? You want to stop or you want to keep going? He goes, I want to keep going. Cool. But he has the resilience and the mindset to be able to have the grit. So like, what are we doing with our kids today if we just give them easy shit? Like we get to build them, but it's one kid at a time. And the challenge is our kids in our schools, like the schools we have, 85% of the kids don't have a father in the home when the kids are born. So what are we supposed to do? Like we have to take them in. Some of them are 12, like literally first, second grade reading level. And we got to get them up to par, right? Yeah. So that's one reason I want to meet with you because it's like, how do you tutor? How do you build? How do you do it to the fastest our ability? Now we have reading programs and some cool stuff. And we built our own tech that will do that eventually, what we need. But like, how do I take a kid that's in first grade? He's 18, 19, 20 years old. He's failed for 12 years in a row, has no father at home, thinks he's going to be dead before he's 18 years old. Yeah.
Where's the hope? Where's the confidence that when there's nothing that's to build on that foundation, right? And that is such a thing. I mean, one of the biggest things I love seeing when we see kids who come in who have struggled and they think they're dumb. Yeah. They think they don't. And really what it is, hey, we just got to take you back. And we often say, like, the fastest way forward is to go backwards, fill those holes. And suddenly that kid who is, like, struggling in 8th grade math, well, when you don't know 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade concepts, that 8th grade math is hard. It's like you or I 100%. Taking an MCAT. We'd be like, I have no idea. And I don't care how hard you tell me to work. I'm not going to know how to do an MCAT, right? Like, I'm not going to get it. But if you build these kids up and then they start seeing competence, then suddenly it's like it changes everything. It's the belief system change. change,
Yeah.
right, that I'm sure you focus on.
Yep.
It's incredible. Okay, so you do digital
So
learning.
it's number one, we do morning motivationals every morning. So we
Amazing.
get the mind right.
I love it.
We do kinesthetic, visual, and auditory. So everything is writing something down. It's seeing something. It's playing games. So every morning is something like that. We have speakers in our school every week to inspire them. We just had a billionaire come in like 2 weeks ago, and he didn't even talk that much, but he's like, yeah, I built a multi-billion-dollar construction company.
Amazing.
And the kid's like, what? Like, I have questions for you.
You know what? A friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, he grew up in Compton, California, and he said he'll never forget. He was like in 5th or 6th grade, and a man walked in wearing a suit, and it was the nicest suit he'd ever seen. And he came up and he said, so what do you do to wear that suit? And the guy said, I'm a banker. And he was like, he didn't even know what a banker was. He's like, all I knew is the successful people in my community were drug dealers.
Yep.
You know, they were doing something illegal. And he's like, and I saw that and it helped me understand, like, wait, there's another way to be successful. And he now does financial literacy promotion around the world for Black people. He's like all focused. John Hope Bryan, he's awesome. Hope Organization for anyone who wants to look it up. But it was such a great story to hear when he's like, I hadn't seen anybody who looked like me and was showing me another option, right?
Yeah.
Another way out. And so the fact that you have people like that coming in and just
Mike
being
Tyson came
exposed.
in first time and he looks at me, he goes, these kids aren't bad. I'm like, dude, I've never said they're bad. He goes, yeah, but that's what I was thinking. And I'm like, yeah, you were thinking they were like you and me back in the day. I go, but why did they ask you questions for 30 minutes? And why did they pick your brain? Like, it's interesting how we can transform a culture of whatever the society thinks it is and build them into something that they're meant to be.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So the first thing is head and heart. Vulnerability, sometimes it's hard. We play games, experiential learning. And then the second piece is, okay, so what do you want to learn? What do you want to be? So we have 5 pillars. It's vision, mission, purpose, team, and commitment.
I love it.
So I find that vision, mission, purpose are the easiest thing. You have to define them. Could be hard. Could be very hard. But I'd say more simple than easy.
Okay.
Team is only dependent on the last one, which is commitment.
Yeah.
So if you commit to so I use this analogy with kids. I go, would you go 80% of the way to the bathroom and then take a poo in your pants? Now, when we were little kids, we don't know we don't like, okay, cool, we have a diaper, right? Like it is what it is. But as an adult, we're not going to attempt to do that, or we're going to restrict ourselves to do that to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
Because we know we don't want to walk around with that in our pants, right?
Yeah.
But why do people go through life doing that every day?
That's true.
And then they take their crap and put in a backpack, which are all their trauma and everything else, and hold it, and then they carry it around for the rest of their life.
Okay, I think I have a new analogy that I got to use. We're turning that into a short right there.
And then they go to a Tony Robbins event at 60 or 70, and then they wake up, and then they go, holy crap, if I could have just had this when I was 15 or 20.
Yeah, I wouldn't have carried
my whole life would be, it would be free and loving and peaceful.
Amazing.
So it's like, why don't we do that when we're kids, and why don't we, so we created our white belt, which is like a 2-day fun thing. Our red belt is 3 days, but it's a little more, I'd say half the people cry and have breakdowns and breakthroughs. We do it at the university level. That's why I got an honorary at Nova Southeastern University.
Incredible.
And then we have our black belt, which is 4-day. And I bring my coach in I do the first, second day with Michael, and then the third, fourth day with Joe. And it is the most, I mean, besides like what I've seen with Tony and some other people, small group, corporation, everybody has a breakthrough. Everybody goes to the next level. Everybody's life is being transformed, and we do it with all of our employees. So not everybody, you have to be handpicked. You have to apply for that, but we only want people that are going to want to get to management or senior level at some point. It's amazing to watch.
That's
incredible. I come in for a second day, and then I literally come back because the stuff they do on the third and fourth day is so. Some people don't want to be that vulnerable in front of, like they're like, you're the boss.
Their
like,
boss,
we don't, I'm like, I'll see you guys in 2 days. And I come back at the end of the fourth day and people are just like free. Like
That's incredible.
like my coach does. My little coach is pretty freaking
That's
cool.
incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk. I mean, obviously beliefs. What are your just practically your afternoons? What are you doing at school in the afternoon? Because you said you don't spend all day on academics.
We have 2 sessions. So we have morning and afternoon session.
Yeah.
So we have 2 groups of kids.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So they don't have to be in school all day?
No.
Oh,
No,
interesting.
we have to hit state standard, which is, I think it's 900 hours and 180 days.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, we do that. with half-day sessions.
No way. And then
Yeah.
are you connecting those kids with opportunities for how to spend their time?
Yeah. So jobs, sports, careers, trade school. We have partnerships with 3 branches of the military that they bring us students and we send them students. So we do a lot of stuff. We have a vocational rehab contract with the state in Florida. So they do 14 and above. So we have kids with IEPs, 504s that actually have jobs paid for by the state. So they have on-site learning now. So we run I think a payroll of I think it's like 7,000 or 8,000 a week now.
That is
so
fantastic.
For our kids are having jobs, learning skill sets that have, what I would call a learning challenge, and then doing really well, and then going back to school and doing better because they're having a job.
That's incredible. So you did mention that you're expanding. You're gonna grow more. What is your vision for, let's say, the next 5 years? Where is this gonna go?
Probably we're gonna pop from 9 to 30, and then from 30 to 100.
Incredible.
The 30 to 100 is gonna be a lot easier. Obviously, we have our SOPs, we have our framework, we have our business plans, we got our PPMs for investors. We have everything there is at this point. We have our tech platform, which is the last piece of what we're finishing building. We've been building for 4 years, so it's pretty amazing to see what we've built, and we're just going to expand. And I think once we get to 100, and then we'll go to 1,000. And my goal is to take schools that are around the country and world to be able to. I want to do international schools too.
Incredible.
One of my goals is to. Dalai Lama's team, when I was with Dalai Lama in India, we'd love to do a school with their team. There's different countries that I'd love to do schools in. And then a goal is to adopt 2 kids in every country and make sure they get into, and then they get into high school, they graduate one of our schools, they go to a college if they want a trade school, and then they go back to their country and impact their country.
I love it. I'll tell you what, I am sure you were a great wrestler, and I'm sure you were awesome in the MMA ring, but seeing what you're doing in the education arena, that is what we need more of, right? That is absolutely what we need more of.
I think the biggest thing
exciting.
is I can build a lot of schools, but I also want to inspire people, what you guys are doing here. You don't need to have somebody that is you don't think of me, I don't think of you as competition. It's called collaboration. So
that's one of the things that I think is so interesting in education. And I'll have people who come into my schools, and one of the things we have on our walls in our different classrooms is our check chart. And it's basically the list of things that kids need to be able to accomplish in order to move up to the next grade.
Nice.
And that can be everything from you got to know how to change a tire to you have to give, a public speaking exercise. You have to do this, that. You have to put together a piece of IKEA furniture, whatever it is. And so people will see this and then they'll say, would it be okay if I take a photo? And I'm like, absolutely. Borrow any of this stuff. Get inspiration from this, because there's no corner on the market of unlocking human potential in education. The more that we can educate kids, all the better. So that's where I'm jump in. The water is warm, guys. You got to come in. If you want to be a part of transforming kids' lives, we need that. In fact, unfortunately, I think there's too many systems in place, and I hate to say it, but too many people who are in this system who don't care about that part of it, right? They're not doing it. Now, to be fair, guys,
accountability.
There's tons of people who are very dedicated. I'm not going after those teachers who love coming to work and doing all that. But there are a lot of that don't really care on this, and we need people who want to get in the ring.
That's why I built Puder AI, is because I'm okay, I'm licensing all these platforms. None of them work together. I'm I need one system. So when a kid with an IEP or with whatever goal they have, a teacher can go over to their they meet the kid, little Johnny, and they go, oh, you do this, this, and this. Oh, wow. You like this. Okay, cool. And they just go through it, and they're I know how to connect with you. And they're let me show you mine. And they hit a button, and it sends that kid fun facts about the teachers.
That's
so
cool.
It's why aren't we connecting human to human connection? The normal teacher teaches what to learn in a classroom. So stands up in front. I'm going to teach you what to learn today. And to 30 kids. Well, we don't teach you what to learn. We teach you how to learn how to learn. So there's a different context of we've lost resourcefulness this last generation. These kids today, I think after my generation, because I think my dad taught us pretty well, my parents' generation. But holy smokes, if you're 35 to if you're 20 to, if you're under 35, the resourcefulness is minimized.
I know.
And we're just producing things that are not good for us.
Right. They can't deal. There's just such a challenge with deal when you think about emotional intelligence and reality quotient. How about that? Those kinds of things. We have to get this back into our young people.
In LaPorte, one of my buddies worked for one of the oil companies out there. He said he had a kid that interviewed for like $150,000 job a year. And the mother called to redo the interview or something like that at the time. And he's like, you're the mother? Like, why isn't your son calling me? She's like, oh, he asked me to call. What? Like,
no, it's
what
crazy.
Is this?
Well, here's one of, now we're going to get on. I don't mean to bag the young generation, but
no, we can bag them
one of my
good.
friends, she's an HR director, and she gets, one of the employees comes and says, I need to file a complaint against my boss. My boss, met with me and gave me all this, like, was rude, said, I wasn't doing a good enough job on this, told me all these things. And my friend's listening to this like, okay, and then what happened? And where was this exactly? And then she all of a sudden put two and two together and she's like, did this occur last week? And then she's like, yeah, last week on Tuesday. And she's like, that was your performance review, right? And they're like, yes, it's ridiculous. And it's like, literally, she pulls it up and it's like, well, your boss was simply going through and like evaluating how you had done, and this person couldn't handle it. It's something, and we, one of the skills,
a norm, right?
No, it's not. And one of the skills we're huge into teaching now is receiving feedback. You have to be able to receive feedback. You have to go out and seek feedback. Yeah. And we don't even do we tell you, if you talk to one of our students, they're like, we don't do the sandwich feedback of tell them something nice and then a little something and then end it with something nice. It's like, make sure it should be kind and it should be helpful and it should be actionable, right? Like you should have things like that. And we ask kids to go through that framework when they're giving feedback to someone. And then how do you receive feedback? And
I find that asking permission too, like to get somebody to, like, before you give feedback, like, do you mind if I give you feedback here?
Do you mind if I give you feedback?
And then they're like, if they say no, you're like, okay, maybe you'll have to look at this in your life. And if they say yes, open it up.
Yep.
So it's interesting to look at permission when somebody agrees to something before.
It's a huge, huge skill you have to learn, right? I mean, and I will say, I was going to say, there are times when I'm like, actually, I don't want your feedback. I'm going to move on.
Well, there's other people you don't want feedback from.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't need that feedback. I will go somewhere else.
So I've had staff that come up to me when I go into a school and they're like, hey, can I talk to you about what's going on over here? And I'm like, sure. Some of it's been good. And some of it is from we had a mother breastfeeding. So we had X amount of bathrooms. We shut one of them down because that's the law. Mm-hmm. So we created this thing that she could go breastfeed or she could pump and da-da-da. And I get it because my son and daughter's mother breastfeeds. Cool. So I get the concept. I didn't know it was a federal law, but my HR team took care of it, right?
Yeah.
But then other people are like, I can't believe that da-da-da. And I'm like, hold on. This is, number one, it's a law, okay? So number two, we have another bathroom. and they're like, and we have like 12 staff in one school. And they're like, but we can't use one bathroom. And I'm like, it's one bathroom. You guys each spend an hour in there a day? Like, what's going on? So I'm like, it's funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you do. Well, I love the fact that you are making a difference for kids. Yeah. If somebody wants to find out more information about your school, 6th through 12th grade, what's the website?
Somebody can just email me. You can go to foundationacademies.com.
foundationacademies.com.
Or you can just email me.
Okay,
It's
great.
simple, dp@Puder, it's PUDER.ai.
Amazing. There we go.
Thanks for listening to Mackenzie Price and the Future of Education podcast. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, now is the time to do it so you can stay up to date on all our episodes. You can connect with Mackenzie on social media and be part of our daily conversation over on Instagram at futureof_education. For more info about the show and our guests, you can always visit futureofeducationpod.com. Lastly, if you're loving what you're learning, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be back in your feed soon, but until then, remember, kids are limitless, and it's our job to unlock their potential.